Hello.
Welcome. I am back. I have been MIA off and on the last 2 weeks from auctioneer school, so I'm happy to be back with you guys for the whole show. I am joined by my co-host Rod. Trish from List Perfectly is back. She was just here. She is back. And in Katy corner to me is Katy and Vikki. They have not been on with us before, so we're happy to have them. Everybody's channels are in the description, and Marsha will be dropping them throughout the show. I'm going to make Trish big and then Katy and Vikki and let them introduce themselves. Get your questions in really early tonight, guys. We have 18 questions already, and we haven't started. So get your questions in now. All right, here is Trish.
Hey, I'm Trish. I work for List Perfectly. I go by Super Sale Trish on all social channels. I have been a full-time reseller up until recently when I took this job. And I'm a clothing reseller for the last 7 years, and I have a really big surprise in the middle, so I hope you guys will stick around.
Perfect. Here's Katy and Vikki.
Wait, Trish brought surprises. What do we have? Anything?
Nothing.
All right. Sorry. Hey, I'm Katy. This is Vikki. We're both resellers, but we have separate businesses. We are married. I specialize in vintage menswear, mainly streetwear, like t-shirts, sweatshirts, things like that. We run the Boss Reseller Remix Conference every year together with our friend Teresa Cox, also our business partner, who I believe is in the chat. Mm-hmm. Hello. And what would you like to add?
Ditto that. I've been selling on eBay since 1998, and I've been an eBay teacher since those early days when we used to call ourselves listing professionals and teach people. And we teach people through our Facebook group, through our YouTube channel, and that's it. I sell primarily vintage, mostly women's vintage clothing. That's my focus.
Perfect. All right. There's one before it, Rod. Somebody left a super sticker 20 minutes before we started. And then we've got Beach Walker. So for all of you that hate my dolphins and my super chats, I'm sorry, but here you go. Here they come. Thank you so much for leaving it early before we even started. Beach Walker, Miss Lisa says, I'm so excited. My eBay room will be done at the end of the week. List Perfectly is going well. Thank all of you for the helpful tips. And she's congratulating me on finishing auctioneer school. Thank you. I'm happy. Those 13-hour days were what I was used to when I was nursing, but not anymore. I'm going to give you the beach one, Beach Walker, here.
I never noticed him yelling, Mom! I never noticed that.
I'd be yelling that too. Jeez.
His feet were sinking in the sand, which he's never had, and he was like freaking out. It was hilarious. Okay, this question came in 2 hours before we started, and it's kind of a multiple, so I'm going to read it all. So Miss Linda said, I received a neutral feedback from a lady because she states she never purchased the item and it was an eBay glitch. And she said her records show purchase, then she requested to cancel with ordered by mistake. She said she had to leave feedback because eBay kept pestering her too. She's asking if we've had eBay pester to leave feedback. And then she's asking why should the buyer be allowed to leave feedback at all because it's been canceled.
Just call eBay.
That's a mouthful.
Just call eBay. They'll remove that.
I mean,
I would have no problem getting that removed.
Personally, I'd say who cares? It's a neutral.
I agree with that.
Feedback. I mean, I'm not saying that to be dismissive. I just am saying that for the most part, I mean, unless they're going and looking at your feedback, it doesn't show up as like affecting your score at all. And if they do go look at it, I mean, you can leave a comment or reply to it. It's not like anyone is going to think that you're not a seller they can buy from based on that feedback.
Yeah, I would never, actually, I would only argue to say I would never draw attention to a neutral by replying to it. I'd reply to a negative, but not a neutral. First of all, eBay will probably remove it because they really shouldn't have been able to leave feedback on a transaction that wasn't completed. But in case, or if that doesn't happen, don't worry about it. Feedback in general is such an antiquated legacy system on eBay. it's really irrelevant. It's not going to affect you unless you drop below a real low number. And if you're in the 90s anywhere, you're fine. Don't worry.
And neutral doesn't change the score at all. So
yeah, I would say, I mean, unless I in the past, I've had neutrals that have really negative comments on there. So if it does have a negative neutral comment, yes, then I would call up eBay, make that a priority, get that removed. But eBay records all the conversations by Messenger. So if she's telling you that eBay told her to do that, I mean, that's a lie right there, right off the bat. So if you just call eBay, they can pull up the messages and they'll have that removed immediately for you.
Yeah, I have to agree. I would give it no weight at all. I would probably not even bother contacting eBay to remove it because it's not going to affect my score. If it bothers you, then Trish is right. Just contact eBay and they will remove it for you, because they shouldn't be able to. They can on canceled orders, and it's a pain in the butt. Miss Rachel, Kat, when you do your giveaways on Whatnot, I notice you say the winner gets reduced shipping for the rest of the auction. How can I offer this to my followers as well? So when you do giveaways on Whatnot, if they have not bought in that show, you pay the cost on that item, which then gives them discounted shipping on everything else. So you have that. You have it. You can tell them the same thing. But if they bought before they won, and I'm sorry, guys, but I love it when you bought before you win something for me, because then you take the main shipping and I only pay the additional. So it depends on which order it goes in. If they win before buying, you pay the bulk of the shipping. If they win after buying, they pay the bulk. So everybody on Whatnot has that. That's just something to try and entice, especially if it's people that are kind of mainly there for giveaways. It entices them to buy because they do, especially with jewelry. It's only a quarter shipping. So you automatically have it. Miss Christie says, I'm seeing more resellers sharing stories of scammers. Are you aware of a limit that eBay has for partial returns for sellers? And does eBay handle credit card chargebacks from buyers?
I'm going to be completely honest. I do not have any idea about the credit card chargebacks, but I was in a restaurant once when it happened to Katy. So we're going to let her tell her story. But I do think that I don't know about a limit, if they have a limit on the partial returns, but I do know that eBay tracks these buyers, that eBay absolutely pays attention to this and tracks it. And I've been doing this for full-time 7 years. And I got to be honest, the amount of scammers is so little that it's negligible. I really think that in the seller community, we make this a bigger deal than it really is. And I wouldn't worry about this. If you're somebody who sells like high-end vintage or really like Louis Vuitton bags or something like that, something that has an element, then I think those things you kind of have to take some precautions and take care of yourself and make sure you're doing it in the best way possible. Other than that, I wouldn't worry about this.
Yeah, there's just certain categories that are more prone to being scammed. But I mean, I sell vintage T-shirts, and some are more higher end, high price stuff, and I don't really have a problem with it. As far as eBay and chargebacks, so when we were still getting paid through PayPal, one of the really frustrating things was that someone could do a chargeback up to, what was it, 180 days or something like that.
It's long.
And the problem with that was the USPS tracking number basically disappeared after 90 days. So
sometimes 120 days.
Yeah. So sometimes you'd kind of be screwed, even if it didn't happen very often. So I was really excited when that was the one thing that I was happy about with eBay doing managed payments. However, they're a real pain in the ass when it comes to chargebacks. They do cover you. But it's like you'll get a message saying there's a chargeback with their bank, and they'll say like, you don't have to worry about anything now. We'll let you know how it goes. And I'm like, why should they have to let you know? They're covering you. They know you sold it. They know that person bought it, or somebody using their account bought it. They know you shipped it. They know the tracking says that it's delivered. That should be the end of the story. They can handle it by, backdoor. They don't need to tell me about that. And so what happens is, a month later, 2 months later, you'll find out, the bank decided in their favor. And sometimes there's a little back and forth and you have to contact them. And it's a really weird system, but just know in the end, they will protect you. It's just, they make it a real pain in the ass.
It's a flawed system for sure. But eBay has your back for the most part with chargebacks. Just do what you're supposed to do. Send what you said you were sending. Make your descriptions good. And always use tracking. That's, I mean, those are the only ways you can protect yourself, and you should be doing all that anyway.
Yeah, when it comes to the scammers and when they're talking about partial refunds, there's a big difference in between there. So if your item arrives, if you have free returns on 30 days, you can get back half the money based on if there's an issue with the item. So that includes if the item arrives broken, that includes if the buyer says the item wasn't as described. A lot of those things you can give a partial refund on there. So as anything else eBay does on there, they work off percentages. So I think they won't tell you what that percentage is, but if you have so many not chargeback, but so many partial refunds due to that claim within an X amount of time, they will limit you. And I've heard that they do suspend that option for people up to 90 days. So keep that in mind. So that's not just with scammers, that's with anything across the board with that. When it comes to handling the credit card chargebacks, I've gotten hit with a couple of them, and that was due to the pandemic, unfortunately, because I sold an Xbox One over $500, and the post office was so delayed, and the item didn't arrive in time. And it actually did show up about 3 months later, and I got hit with a chargeback on that, unfortunately. So it's not perfect, the system. Luckily, the buyer was cool. He actually refused the package, so it was sent back to me. So, so even though I got hit with a chargeback, I did get my money, get my item back. Very thankful, very lucky on that one. But I mean, I just had items like sent to France, and unfortunately, the item broke in shipping just because the international shipping. They have to play soccer with my packages sometimes, and no matter how well you package things up, and he filed a chargeback on there. So you are protected, like they said, if the item arrives and the buyer does file a chargeback, but if the item is broken or the item doesn't arrive in time of what the tracking is, they'll extend it like 10 days. But sometimes you're up the creek without a paddle, unfortunately, and you have to eat those. So you need to always factor in that, 2, 3, 4% into your business model, that you're going to have scammers, you're going to have chargebacks, you're going to have broken or damaged items or lost packages. It's just part of the game.
Yeah, so I don't know about the limit. I think Rod probably covered it. As far as chargebacks, I actually just lost a chargeback on eBay last week, and it was an international shipment that didn't get there yet. And I used eBay's global shipping, and they still did not get it overturned because it was not arrived. That's 2 of them in the last month that have not arrived within 3 months. And I've never had this issue. I've shipped international for years. 2 items, and both of them were over $150 a piece. But this was the first chargeback that I had lost. I've had several with eBay, and it always it's fine, it's fine. This one did not. I think because it was never delivered, or not yet, they're probably going to get it, and I've lost the money. So I'm kind of getting a little iffy. Hopefully. And I actually have 2 not received from international sales right now. I don't know if something's going on slowing it down. I know one's Mexico, and I think the other one's Japan are the 2 that are waiting for now. But I agree too. I tell everybody with returns, it's part of business, guys. It's part of business. You don't take it personal, calculate it into your business and keep on moving, because it's going to happen. Whether it's broke items or a scammer, it's going to happen. Yes. And that's very true. Mile High Mom hit the nail on the head. People will share negative experiences way more than positive. What they write me about, it was, what was it? I don't remember. And I was like, that's because when people are mad, it was about a better Business Bureau. That's because when people are mad, that's where they go. When they're happy, they do nothing. They just keep using what they're using. So yeah, very, very true. Northwoods Flipper, when it comes to jewelry, glass, pottery that can easily appear unmarked or unbranded, besides Google Lens, is there a way to determine what you have?
I will pass.
I'll let Vikki answer that.
I think Google Lens is problematic at best. I think, honestly, there are lots of different research sites that you should find and bookmark. WorthPoint is one of them, actually. They have some of the best research information available on their site. But there are lots of different research sites, specialty groups you can join to have people help you. I'm not somebody that's into jewelry or glassware, although I've sold both many times over the last millions of years I've been selling. But if it's not marked, I don't know what the heck it is either usually. So I can usually tell quality and I can tell a decade, and that's about as good as I can get. And I'll just dive deep doing some research, just Googling, finding good sites and asking questions, because the one thing people like to do is talk about themselves and share their knowledge. So if you find the right Facebook group or even a private group somewhere that can give you details, people love to brag on their knowledge about stuff. And it's it's very helpful for you. Do your basic research first. Don't be that person. But once you've exhausted your basic research, don't spend 3 hours trying to find something yourself. And then just put it in a group and ask,
There's a group for everything.
Yeah, there's a group for everything. You can also reach out to local auction houses or antique dealers in your area. They may be able to point you in the right direction. I just came back from the 100-mile highway sale up in Virginia, and I went picking with someone who's all into glassware. So when I got back, I ordered 5 books online to help educate myself, because watching
You
him.
went with Tim, didn't you?
I did. Tim was up there. Yeah, Tim.
I was going to say books, but I figured too many people would think I was too old if I said the old Hallmark books that we all used to use years ago. They're honestly still the best and most valuable.
They're all plenty of pictures, so I like picture books, and they're going to help out and stuff like that. But it's just expanding your knowledge. But you got to start somewhere. So you don't know it all, but reach out to someone who does.
Yeah, Google Lens will help you sometimes, but not all the time. So I would say books are definitely good. If you already have it, Facebook groups are great. Old Things Pickers and Thrifters is Jocelyn, Crazy Lamp Ladies group. There are tons of knowledgeable people. I personally use that when I can't figure something out. But I would recommend, if you're new and you don't know what it is, maybe leave it on the shelf. Especially if it costs more money, unless you got a feel. Like, I'm pretty good now after years. Like, I get a pretty good gut feeling when stuff is valuable. I can just pick it out. But if you're new, I would hate for you to waste money on stuff that's worth, like $10. That's not worth it to pack. With breakables, jewelry, books. I was trying to win like 10 jewelry books, and they're expensive. My Miriam Haskell was $50. If you want to learn about a certain maker, find a book on that maker, but most of them are going to cost you, I would say $30, $40, $50. I watch them on the auctions, and that's actually where I lost them. So if you're watching auctions, watch for research books and just build yourself a library slowly. Trish, I don't know if you can answer this. I know Teresa's in the chat too. She said she noticed List Perfectly double listed a listing from eBay. Do we know? I don't know that I have noticed that myself.
So this is going to be the second question I pass on, and I'm going to say that I don't think it's possible. So we should ask Teresa in the chat if she's still here.
Yeah, or the List Perfectly Facebook group is wonderful too.
Yeah.
Because if it's the same title, eBay won't allow you to list the same item. So just eBay's restrictions on the items automatically puts up a red flag, says you have a duplicated listing.
Well, it sounds like she's saying she imported them from eBay to List Perfectly and now has way more listings on List Perfectly on eBay.
That's maybe it went into List Perfectly twice, maybe.
That's what I'm not sure. But I definitely
a way to run a report on List Perfectly.
That's what I was going to say. There's definitely a way to fix this. I just can't explain it.
Honestly, I can't either. So I think the List Perfectly group would be great for you to.
Patty, if you're not in the List Perfectly group, please go join List Perfectly's Facebook group. They're great. Kim runs it. She'd be more than happy to help you. But then also put in a ticket. We have help 24/7. There's somebody who does this. So put in a ticket. Somebody will get right back to you. Because it could be just something very simple, a setting or whatever. It could be very easy to fix.
Yeah. You good, Rod? Yeah? Okay. Chance said, tell me again how you handle the situation. If you sell something, you can't find it, what do you do? It's from when she first started and didn't have a good inventory system.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you what I do. This would not be sanctioned by anybody, not List Perfectly, not eBay, but I'm going to tell you what I do. If it is not expensive, I either just send them. I buy a ticket. I buy the postage and then refund their money in the next day or two. So that eBay has the tracking number, these people have the tracking number, and then if it's expensive, and for me, my expensive is like $50 and over, let's say. Under $50, I'm more worried about my metrics. I'm going to be honest. So I just try to finagle the system that's best for me. Now, if it's a very easy thing that I can find a duplicate on eBay, I will just go and write to another seller and say, look, I messed up. I sold this. I do not have it. Can I pay for this right now? Will you send it out for me? I've done that a handful of times over the last 7 years. But since I sell used clothing, that's not something I can do that often. So those are my two things that I've done in the past, neither of which would probably be good for eBay to hear.
So it depends on the platform. Other than eBay, most of the other platforms, I'm on like 4 different platforms. They don't really care if
I was going to say
had any issue from canceling an order. Yeah. And it's all pretty much never because I can't find the item. It's because I accidentally sold it on a different, or I didn't take it down from all my platforms when it sold on one. It doesn't happen super often. So on any platform but eBay, I just go ahead and cancel it. I've done a couple of different things with eBay. One thing you can do is, apologize, offer something else in your store, and you have that conversation. And then when they say they don't want something else, then you can cancel it because buyer asked for it to be canceled. So that's the best get around. That's probably like the best way to get around it. But I'm not going to lie. There has been a time or two that I have just pretended to ship it and then refunded them when it didn't arrive because I'm an asshole.
So that's what I do. Like Katy said, any other platform other than eBay, I'm just going to cancel with an apology and send the refund. And there's no damage to your metrics unless you do it all the time. Like I know Macari and Poshmark both keep track of a certain metric, but unless it's like 50% of your orders, you're fine.
Listen, Poshmark's more. I had a 75% cancel because when you couldn't search the closet, when you couldn't search your closet and things, 75%. I'm like, why haven't these people kicked me off here yet? Anyways, I don't anymore since I can cancel, since I can search, and because I have the list perfectly and it finds it. But 75%, and they didn't shut me down.
They didn't kick you off.
I'm like, what is wrong with you people?
eBay, you get out of there.
eBay, I do the fake ship thing. I got to say, I probably do that at least once a month. I'll pay for the shipping label, and then I keep track of
how many ounces do you buy a shipping label for?
Usually 4 ounces. And then when the customer says they didn't get it, that I will go, apologize profusely. It must be lost in the mail, and I give the refund. So that kind of, it saves my metrics. I'm not saying do as I say,
no. But we never suggest this in our Facebook group. So we're giving you guys the real deal here.
This is the real.
We never advise people to do that, but the question was asked. So do it at your own risk.
I will say 9 out of 10 times, though, people are actually pretty cool about it. If you just send them a message, and I had that happen to me about 5 times in the past year because I recently moved. And when we moved to a new home, I had half my stuff in storage, half my stuff in my house, and my stuff got misplaced all over the place, unfortunately. So I would just email the person and say, hey, I just recently moved. The package got accidentally put in storage. I'm so sorry about this. I can either cancel your order and issue a full refund so you can buy it for someone else, or if you like something else in my store, even if it's more money up to a certain percentage, I'll send that, as a replacement instead. And the biggest thing I want is the buyer just to tell me that they want to just cancel and issue me a refund, because then I can just hit that cancel button and it's documented in the thing that the buyer wanted to cancel it. Yeah. Because if you cancel it and say it's out of stock, you get so many dings in your account, it will hurt you. And so that's the best way that's my best workaround. And I've been doing that for years. If I ever lost an item or couldn't find it or accidentally sold it in another platform and didn't take it down.
Yeah. I mean, people in the chat are saying listen, this is everybody has sold something they cannot find, whether it's already been sold or you cannot find it because your inventory system's a mess, or
you
your inventory system is good and you still can't find it.
A week later and it's there and you're like, really?
Right. We've all done it. And especially if you're selling on multiple platforms, I know that, whatever list, cross-posting software you're using, there are different ways to end your listings easily. but they're not foolproof, right? Nothing's foolproof. So you're going to it's going to happen at some point. And, you know, the bigger your inventory and the more sales you have, the more frequently it's going to happen.
Yeah. Like we have over 6,000 listed. I typically, what I will do is I will first look for the item on eBay. That's my first step. And it's funny because a lot of times I find the same item cheaper than I sold it for, and I actually make a profit. And I am not like Trish. I do not tell you that's why I'm buying it. I buy it, I change the shipping address, and I'm done. Like, I'm not telling some other seller my issues. I pay for it, change the ship to address, and off it goes. If I cannot find it, that is when I will message them. I tell them, look, I can't find it. Is there anything else you want? Up to, like, if it's $15, I might say up to $20. Let me know. And most of the time they do say cancel, and then I cancel buyer requested. So I look for it first, but mine's a lot, and not used clothes, but I do a lot of one-off vintage stuff. So a lot of times it's not there. But occasionally I can. I actually I had to cancel 2 yesterday because of that. So yeah, it happens. Summertime vintage. When do you leave feedback for the buyer? So do you leave it after payment, or do you wait to see if they end up being difficult?
In my opinion, the only thing the buyer needs to do to you is pay. So even if they're difficult, they've already fulfilled their obligation to us. So I have it on automatically. So I automatically leave feedback the second they pay. That was you. They fight about who screws up the question. So summertime vintage, in my opinion, leave it right after they buy.
Yeah, I have it set up automatically. Once they pay, it's over. And like we were saying earlier, I don't think feedback is meaningless on all platforms. I think it really matters a lot on some platforms, especially when you sell what I sell with vintage streetwear. I think it matters on Grailed. I think it matters on Etsy. But as far as like eBay goes, it's like you're not going to like punish the person for being a bad buyer by not leaving them feedback, or there's nothing you can do about it. So it's like just setting it to auto so you never have to think about it is the way to go.
Remove the time constraint and the effort to put into it. Just put it on automated. I've had it on automated as long as it's existed, maybe 15 years to do automated feedback.
Wait, how old are you?
Shut up. And the reality is you can't leave negative feedback or disparaging or negative comments in positive feedback for your buyer anyway. So it's irrelevant to withhold feedback. It just take it the entire decision out of your life and just make it automated.
Yeah, you can't leave negative feedback at all once a buyer pays. The only option
You used to could.
You used to
could.
Oh, back in the day, yes, you could, but now they change it where once a buyer pays, you can only leave them positive feedback because their part is already done. So I have mine just like them. I have it set up on automatic because it saves time, especially if you're selling thousands of items a year. That's a lot of time wasted to go in there and just leaving feedback for everybody. So have it set up on automatic, simplify your life, and just move on.
Yeah, mine's set up on automatic. As soon as you pay, you're getting feedback. Not worth the time. Bitsy and Binksy, what are some good items to buy in lots for resale that are in the $100 range per item? My preferred genre to sell is Disneyana and almost any vintage animal figurines. Any tips?
Do they mean like to buy at $100?
Like what types of items would sell for like $100?
Okay.
I mean,
sale
some
price.
of everything sells.
Okay, I apologize.
I think that's what they mean.
Okay.
I think that's...
My average selling price is $22. So this is not a question that I think about often. And everything that I buy that could sell for more, I end up keeping because I have a thing for Disney pocketbooks. And I shouldn't be allowed to go there near them or buy them or touch them because I have probably 100 at my house. So I am not the girl for this question. Pass.
I mean, it depends on what niches you're comfortable selling in.
Well,
and
you have there what their niche.
I know, but they said they're okay. Well, that's their preferred genre. I'm not going to talk about Disney stuff. But my answer for me would be that t-shirts are if you have knowledge of things like clothing, t-shirts and vintage can be really good for buying in bulk, because there are a lot of, especially young, as I call them, the t-shirt bros, who might be like out shopping the bins all the time. There are a lot of them out there that are looking to sell lots. And I personally, I'm willing to spend $20-$30 for a shirt I can sell for $10. So I'm going to go do
for $10 for $100.
Sorry, for $100. So I'm gonna
I'm
go
like, you're doing it wrong.
Sorry.
Okay, that's backwards.
But I'm, like we went to Colorado and we went and shopped this guy's garage and basement and didn't get murdered. And I did buy about $2,000 worth of t-shirts. I think from him I got about 100 t-shirts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all of those I sold for $50 up to $200 a piece. So it just kind of depends.
Yeah, I mean, my average sale price is somewhere around $75. And I'm cheap as all get out. Anybody that watches our channel knows that I don't want to spend more than $5 for anything. It doesn't matter what it is. But I don't have a problem investing in something that I know is a quick flip. However, because of what I sell is vintage is primarily long tail, regardless of what it is, unless you have something very rare, whether it's clothing or hard goods. And I do both. So I think if we had a definitive answer to your question, we would all be millionaires right now. I don't think that there is anyone that's going to be able to give you're going to buy X, Y, and Z, and every time you're going to sell it for X, Y, and Z. And that's your answer for success. I think that, that's a very nuanced question.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys, because every single category, you're going to have items that you can sell for $100. But I mean, you can make money in any category. It all comes down to your buy. If your buy price is right, you make your money in the buy, not the sale. So, I mean, and I personally rather sell 5 $20 items than $100 item, because those $20 items are going to be a lot easier for someone to buy than to find someone who's going to spend $100 on one item. So I think it really just comes down to what you're buying and the price point you're buying it, because you can make money in any single category, but it really comes down to what you're getting those items for originally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I would say with lots, what I've learned, and I buy a lot of lots, if you know me, that's how I mainly source is online auctions. The bigger the lots, the more chance you're going to find money in it. And the more chance they didn't go through it, especially when it comes to jewelry. So we sell 500 pieces of jewelry a week on Whatnot. I buy a lot of jewelry. And the bigger lots are the ones with those hidden names in there because they just dumped a bunch of jewelry. That's why you see silver tone and gold tone lots going up really high, because people know there's a good chance that they missed something. Not all the time. And I learned which locations did look and which ones didn't, because some of them looked really good and I never got anything. But there's something in every niche that is going to sell for 100. There's stuff in every niche that's going to sell for like 500, but it's not what should you buy, it's what can you find. So that's the majorly important part. Like I love vintage t-shirts. I would love to sell them. They're not around me, and there's a fight for them in online auctions. So I find them occasionally, but I don't specialize in it. I can find 100 pounds of jewelry. You give me an hour, I guarantee I could have 100 pounds of jewelry at my door by Friday. So I would concentrate on what you can find and learn that category. And then you can, kind of focus down on what to look for.
So, Kat, when you do buy your lots, do you follow the 80-20 rule, where you want to get 80% of your money back from 20% of the items, or elaborate a little bit more?
No, because with jewelry, you can't see. And a lot of times it's a box and you're only seeing the top of it. I do look for stuff that obviously is going to be worth money. But I know in 20 pounds of jewelry, I'm probably going to have over 200 items, probably 400 to be realistic. So if I pay $200, I'm 50 cents in an item. So if half of that is crap, I'm still only $1 in an item. I do pay up for like sterling silver lots, and I look, and I tell the people in my sourcing membership this, the better their pictures are on auctions, the more money it's going to sell for. I love auction houses that take crappy pictures and only one picture, because I will look at them, I will find the good stuff, and nobody else is paying attention. They want to see good pictures. I do not want to see good pictures, because then the stuff sells for more. So yeah. Miss Stacy.
Right here. Someone's trying to find your guys' YouTube channel.
I was trying to.
Marsha's been dropping it. Marsha's been dropping the link.
Once I was just answering the question.
We both spell our names a little weird, so
I
Yeah,
was
that's part of
helping.
it.
It's in the description too if you're watching after, guys. Are we clicking things at the same time again?
Nope, not me.
Stacy says, I hear you all say it ends up costing money to have a YouTube channel as a reseller, which makes sense. But that said, what makes YouTube worth time and effort to you?
All right, I do not have a YouTube channel. All my friends do. But I would like to say this about YouTube. It is a huge time. I say this from an outside observer. I've never had one. So you guys can all cash in with what I'm going to say if I'm right or not. But to me, it's a huge time commitment. So if you are going to do this and you want to do it well, it's a huge time commitment. But I do think if you have a YouTube channel, you get opportunities that other other resellers don't get. You get offered things, you get offered buys, you get offered lots, you get offered things. And I don't mean for free. But you get the opportunities. So I have often wondered, and I don't know how you guys will feel about this since all three of you have channels, but if you think that if that outweighs the time suck, because I know that you never really make back the money. If the money that you're, and I don't mean cost.
That's not true. That's not true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
well,
Not for everybody, though. That's the thing, guys. It's not everybody.
It's not for everybody. And we've said several times, for those of it that watch us or know us, we've had a YouTube channel for almost 5 years now, and we're still hovering around 10,000, 11,000 subs. And it's because we literally put out one video a week, and it's a 2-hour live or an hour and a half live, because we don't want to be YouTubers. We're resellers first. Our YouTube channel is just an extension of our community that we're building, and we have been building through our Facebook group and through our meetups and things like that. So for us, YouTube is not a source of revenue, and it hasn't been, because we don't want to do all the editing and work and effort that's involved in the content creating. We could if we wanted to, but we don't want to. I want to spend my time sourcing and selling, and that's my what I want to do. And now we kind of keep it. It's really just to stay connected to the community for us.
Yeah.
It all depends on what your goal is with your YouTube channel. Some people want to be content creators and make a ton of money through creating content, and that's possible. And lots of people do that.
But it does have to be a full-time job. It is a full-time thing to be able to grow a channel to the point where you're making real money on it. And it happens for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say for us, we used to put out like a lot more videos. And in the beginning, we actually were making some money. And then something happened where literally in 1 week's time, the algorithm on YouTube changed. And we went from having, our weekly, this is like back when we only had like far less followers.
Maybe
and we went from having
3,000
like 3,000
subs.
views on our Sunday live show to now we can barely ever hit 1,000. And so it's like if you want to be a YouTuber, as far as making money goes, it is a daily hustle. And it's something that like, I don't find the love for. Vikki says about not wanting to do the editing. That's because I'm the one that would have to do the editing, because I am the one who has to do all the technical stuff.
I'm technologically challenged, and I'll be the first person to admit it. It's a good thing I can sell online, because that's about all I can handle.
And I don't enjoy it as much. So I will want to like my job. When I'm out in the world, taking pictures and video is not fun for me. I want to just like enjoy the moment. So it's always like a hassle to be like, okay, I gotta take video of this, which I did all last week on our cruise ship. But we like the community aspect of it.
Yeah, so I always say on the show that every time I put out a YouTube video, I lose money. And I'm hovering around 5,000 subs right now. Yes, I get paid on YouTube, but at the same point in time is like, I have to, when I go out to garage sales, I have to make sure I have items in the shot. So that takes extra time. I have to make sure that certain things that I get conversations picked up there. I have to do a recap of my items instead of just coming home and throwing them in my death pile where they're never going to be listed. Or, you know what I mean? And then I got to sit down for hours and edit things. But at the same point in time is I absolutely love it. For many of you guys know that I was a pro wrestler. I wrestled for many, many years, and I loved it because it gave me a creative outlook. It allowed me to perform in front of an audience. It allowed me to do the things that I love doing. Allowed me to create. And YouTube gives me that same outlet. So usually, when I sit down on my computer, and I sit there and I edit and I go through my videos, I'm in a different world. Like it's therapeutic for me, so I definitely enjoy it. Yes, can you make money on YouTube? Yes, you can make a lot of money on YouTube. You can make money off the ad revenue. You can make money off sponsorships. You can make money off leads that are being generated to you because you get opportunities that other people won't get because of your channel. People will reach out to you for things, but that comes over time. YouTube is a marathon, not a race. So if you want to get into YouTube and you want to be there for, I want to wrestle Rod.
With cocoa butter.
Wow, on that note. Okay, Kat, you can just take over now. Don't get me all messed up.
Sorry. I have to put it
funny.
up.
That was awesome.
Yeah, so I will tell you, I am at the point where making a YouTube video does not cost me money. I have enough income from it that it is not really costing me money at this point. On my new channel, it is on Kat's Treasure Hunting, which I haven't put a channel or a video out in 4 weeks. That does cost me money. And I have like 4 hauls in my car that I have to record. And like Rod said, so I leave stuff in my car till I record the haul, and it's like the storage unit. Even on that, I like content creating. My big thing is teaching. I really love teaching people. I love helping people make income. The community is absolutely great. The support is great. It is like we've had a couple of camps, learning camps, and it is just an amazing, amazing community. I don't get a ton of viewer sales like a lot of some YouTubers are just, I guess they're that personable. I don't get that. I guess I'm not. But that's a lie because a lot of you are on Whatnot. I should take that back. A lot of you are buying from me on Whatnot, but on eBay, I don't get a lot of viewer sales, only like 2 a week typically. And even though as it was growing, it was just teaching and it's a community and you're going back and forth. I did daily. I could not do that anymore. Now I just do 2 a week and this live. We've been doing this live for 3 years. So I like the community and I like education. I like teaching. That's the biggest thing for me. And it makes it worth it when people write you. I've had people write me, tell me they were about to file for disability. They watched me. Now they're not on disability. They're taking vacations. It's like, it's great, to hear how you're helping. So that would be the biggest thing for me, I think. But I say it every time, not everybody makes it to that. I got lucky. I had teacups. Anybody who knows me knows teacups put me through the roof. One video, you never know which one it'll be. Mine was teacups.
Julian's in
and
the house.
just it kind of catapulted. Who's here? Julian. Oh, we both clicked it. We were both so excited. We clicked you we did it again. You click it. I'm not touching it.
You're fired.
You two need.
I let her come back. Let her go for 2 weeks. I brought her back finally. And
All hell is broken loose.
I just don't let Vikki touch the computer.
I was like,
Yeah,
Vicky's
I mean,
not allowed to do
that's
anything.
really it. I can't mess it up. She doesn't let me touch it. I agree with
Listen.
that on the teaching thing. The teaching
Next
aspect is
month.
the best part.
That's funny. Next month, Julian and Kayla, his wife, are coming on, guys. So all of you that have watched me for years know Julian was here as my co-host for 2 years. He will be back as a guest. He has never been on the bottom. He and his wife are going to be guests. So they will be coming back with us next month, which will be absolutely amazing. So thank you for stopping in. I appreciate you. Here is a question for my good friend Tiffany for Katy and Vikki. It says, passport and Stingray aside, how was your cruise?
It was real good. For anyone who doesn't know the story, we went on a 7-day cruise out of Long Beach, the Mexican Riviera. It was really fun. Our friend Danica came with us, so she flew into Vegas and we road tripped it to Long Beach the day before to stay in a hotel and then shuttle on over for our cruise. But we got all the way to Long Beach and I realized even though I had packed it and had it by the front door, I didn't grab my backpack, which had my passport and my birth certificate in it. And you have to have one or the other in order to get on the ship. But luckily, our friends Angel and Crystal were willing to drive to the halfway point at Eddie World to do an exchange. So we only had to drive an extra 5 hours that night instead of like 10. So they saved us. Batman saved us. And then I was stung by a stingray at one of the ports. So it was a pretty good time. But otherwise, it was great.
She was Steve Irwin, Domo.
Here,
true.
here,
I
there's a
survived,
follow-up
so
question to
suck
that
it,
too. They want to know how bad did it hurt. There's a follow-up question.
It was horrible. First of all, it was like I just got stabbed in the side of the foot, and I didn't know what it was. And then, luckily, there were paramedics on the beach. None of them spoke English, but we had some interpreters handy. And they basically used snake venom kits to clean it out. But it hurt, like my foot was on fire for like 2 hours before I got back to the ship and was able to Google that shit and get my foot in hot water, and that neutralized the toxins so I wasn't dying. But it was the worst pain. It's funny because I was vlogging for the whole trip. And so, you see me like screaming in pain. That video is not up yet. But I was still kind of like laughing and joking and everything. And then all of a sudden at a certain point it turned and I went to, not on video, crying for like an hour straight. It was pretty awful.
Cheryl said who peed on you, but that's a jellyfish.
That's a jellyfish.
And even that's a myth.
And even that's a myth. But I will say, Katy, she's not a crier. I'm a crier. Like I stub my toe, I'm going to cry. I've seen her cry maybe a handful of times in the almost 6 years we've been together. She was crying. And the medic did tell us that 300-pound grown men vomit and cry and pass out from the pain. So it was a pretty rough one.
I spent a week on the burn ward, and I would say a burn is the treatment for a burn, and changing of dressings is probably the worst pain ever. The thing about this is it was nonstop for 2 hours straight. So it wasn't like, oh, it's going to hurt for 15 minutes while they go through this process. It was like nonstop on fire for 2 hours straight. So it was rough.
See, I had never heard of the stingray shuffle until after the fact.
Yep.
See, we know, living in Florida, we have to, because stingrays are everywhere here. They are everywhere.
I'm
So
from
like
New
we're
England.
taught
We
that
don't-
from like little.
I'm
So
just
what
stay out
does
of the
that
ocean.
mean?
We
What
don't
does
have
that mean?
stingrays in New
You
England.
shuffle your feet, you don't pick them up, and then you would shuffle into them and they would move. Like they would feel you coming. So you don't step on them.
They're not
by
aggressive.
accident.
They don't want to sting you. It's only because you
No,
startle
they
them.
not at all.
There's
Yeah,
no
you scare 'em.
go
I've
ahead of me.
never heard that in my entire life. So thank you for that. Thanks.
Now you know. Now you know.
Now you know. We need the little graphic.
With the
All
scar.
right. Miss Bridget, what was your best sale in April or May so far? I had to look it up. I'm not going to lie.
Okay, so for me, it was I only sell used clothing and I sell low end stuff. I mean, not low end as in trash, but just as in like mall brand everyday stuff. But a girlfriend of mine is getting a divorce and she had some china. And I was like, oh, we can put it on. I think I sold it too low because it all sold within 4 days. Yeah. So that was it.
So what kind of china did you sell? Tell us. And how much was it?
Mikasa, right? Is that how you say it? Mikasa, a gray pattern it was very pretty. And I guess it's a desirable pattern. I mean, I looked it up. I tried to be comparable.
Can you state this before? Is it already through the divorce? Has the divorce been finalized?
No.
Can we state this right now?
No, it's not finalized. They know they're getting a divorce.
Okay.
I'm not telling them something they don't know.
No, I meant you're selling off their stuff.
Oh no, I think she just was like, we don't use this. We might as well get rid of it. And I was like, okay, put it. She lists for me. So she's like, I'm gonna throw it on eBay. I'm like, okay. And then she's like, can you help me with the pricing? I'm like, sure. And then it all sold really fast. So, but it was good. A few $100 each for each, like 8 plates were 130 or something. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
What would we say, April or May?
Yeah, either one.
Yeah.
Either.
So April, it was a 9-inch nails t-shirt. I sold for $420. They came from our bins, but it was Jesse from Yesterday's Fits who actually found it when we were there. And I was doing a sourcing video. And so we were out in the parking lot and he was showing it to me. And I asked him how much he would sell it to me right there. And he said 150. So I paid him $150 and then I sold it in a few weeks for $420.
That was good.
Yeah.
Nice.
My highest sale was actually Yesterday's Fit source as well, which is funny. They're a local reselling shop that specializes in hypewear and streetwear here in Las Vegas. They're friends of ours. And I sourced a Saint Laurent jacket from their shop for $100. Wasn't 100% sure it was real, but I was willing to take the gamble because I knew they would let me return it because of our friendship. So I had to take it home and do a little bit more research. It was real. I paid $100 and it sold for $480 about 3 days after I listed it. So that
on
was
Poshmark.
on Poshmark.
Oh, that's
Crazy.
A full price sale on Poshmark. That doesn't happen.
It
So
doesn't.
I sold a graded Spider-Man comic book. It's Spider-Man 306. It was a newsstand. If you guys aren't familiar with newsstands, that means it was sold in a new shop and had a little UPC code on the bottom of it instead of being sold at like a comic book store. But I sold it, got graded. It was a 9.8, sold for $900.
Nice.
Yay.
And mine was a 2004 Disney Little Mermaid Daughters of Triton snow globe, and I sold it for $1,000. That sold in April. That was my biggest one.
Just a little.
What was it? Yeah, if I didn't have that though, I sold a Harley pocket watch for $350. That's my next one. I haven't had a ton of high dollar sales lately. I did a high dollar what sold video, and 33 of 150 sold for over $25. So I do mostly bread and butter, but I get those occasional big ones. Miss Linda says, I've always been a list it and forget it seller with only minimal tweaking. Is there ever a time when you remove an item from your inventory and donate it?
I never do that. So I'm basically a list it and forget it seller also, but then at about the year mark, I will revisit what's going on. And then if I think it was my fault, I'll tweak it. If I think it was just a bad buy and it's not going to sell, then I put it for sale quite a bit and I will like knock it down and then I'll send it to auction. I just feel like I've already done all the work. Why do I want to just donate it? So I will try to sell it even if I make a buck or two of it. I don't want to lose money to get rid of it, but I'll try to at least break even for what I paid for it.
Yeah, I would say I don't have a space issue. Selling t-shirts and sweatshirts, it's like I use those stackable bins that you get at like Costco, the black with the yellow lids. I could probably double my inventory with the space that I have right now. So it's like there's not really a reason for me to. And depending on the platform, like eBay, it's like I'm never going to use up all my listings. So it doesn't cost me anything to have it on there. Now on Etsy, it does cost you like 20 cents every 3 months. But I'm like, the work I would have to do to go through it all and figure it out and do it. It's like to me, it's just better to do nothing. And I might go occasionally, like on eBay, maybe after like 9 months, I might take it down and list it as a new listing and maybe lower the price if I'm like, okay, clearly nobody wanted it at that price. But yeah, I don't get rid of anything. Yeah,
if I spend the time to take photos of it, list it, it's going to stay up there until it sells. So I don't care if I have to reduce the price month after month until I break even, or if I take a small loss on it, I'd rather get back 60% of my money than 100% of nothing. So I'll keep it up there. If I put the time in, it's going to stay up there till it sells.
Yeah, I'm the same way. If I spent the time and put it up there, the only time I bought, I don't even remember what kind of shirts they were. I'd like 1,000 and like one sold in 8 months. And I'm like, these are not taking up all that space. So I donated them to a church who sent them overseas to a mission. And I was like, why? I don't even remember what kind they were, 1,000 of them. And my poor daughter, I made Brooke go to Tampa and pick them up to sell one. And I thought they would, I can't even remember what kind they were at this point. So yeah. It happens. That's the only thing though, because it was 1,000 of them and they were taking up a lot of space. I was thinking, single listing, multi-quantity until one sells and I have 9,999. It happened. Miss Lynn says, I have multiple pieces, 20 plus to a game. Is it better to sell individually or choice? So I'm assuming like just the game pieces, not the board. So it would be sold as like a replacement type of thing.
I have no clue.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Passing to them. Wrong way.
I don't sell games, so.
Thank you, Katy.
For the most part, I'm going to say, for me personally, selling individual game pieces is generally not worth the time for the amount of money. So I wouldn't take the time to create a choice listing because those are pretty complicated and they take up a lot of time just to create that listing. To be honest, I either would not sell an incomplete game if it's a low dollar item, or if I do sell it, I just put in the title that it's incomplete and I list the pieces that it has and the ones that it doesn't have. And I'm going to sell it as is, just as a lot that way. I mean, that's just my opinion. I know plenty of people, there are people that have full-time stores that sell only replacement game pieces. I know that, but if that's not your niche and you're not doing that all the time, you have to value your time and money, and your time is money, period. So are you going to be working for 25 cents an hour because you're trying to list 12 items for $5 a piece?
And you're like, I got it for free, so it's worth it. It's like, not if it takes you 3 hours and you sold it for $5.
Yeah. So, you've got to weigh cost effectiveness and time for sure.
So I do sell, sometimes I will sell piece out board games. It depends what it is. So if it's like a high-end Monopoly game or a collector's edition, those little metal pieces can actually bring really good money. So I will put those in a lot. Usually though, if I mess up and if I buy it for $1 or $2 at a yard sale because I was going to flip the whole game and then realize that there's something missing in it, so I can't sell as a full game, because usually in the instructions will tell you how many pieces are actually in the board game. So it's a good way for you to match it up. But then what I would do is, like, for example, like Monopoly, usually the money's custom to that, the pieces are custom to that, and then all like the house and stuff. So what I'll do is I'll put those in 3 separate lots, all those pieces together, quick listing for $10 a piece for all the money, all the pieces, or whatever it is at that point in time, and just list it and forget it. I will say they are long tail items when that does happen, because it's people that are missing it. But when you're dealing with the vintage board games, though, stuff from like the 50s, 60s, 70s, those are more highly sought after when it comes to the pieces, because people just lose board pieces over time, especially kids play with them. So those can actually bring decent money, but it just depends what you have. Just like they said, though, it does take a lot of time. It's usually not worth it. Only time I do it is if I do it by accident and I just trying to recoup some of my money, and if it's a quick list.
Yeah, so the only time I do it is if they're worth quite a bit. Like I would say like $15 plus. And then I'm just going to take a picture and put as is. Some stuff to watch out for, though: dice that are Bakelite, dominoes, mahjong pieces. Those sell for hundreds to thousands of dollars. So if you find old game pieces that are made of Bakelite, that's big, big money. We've got a super chat from Jessica, Resell to Ride. She's passed 600 subscribers since she came on our show, which is absolutely amazing. So congrats on that, Miss Jessica. She says, if you have a vintage hat or clothing item with stains that you didn't notice at purchase, would you attempt removing them and risk damaging it, or list as is? And if you do clean it, do you have any cleaning tips?
Okay, this is really funny because I personally would just list it because I ain't cleaning it. But I just said to Katy yesterday that I thought she's going to give a talk. And I thought when she did it, she should tell people how, because she'd soak stuff and she can get things that are yellowy really white. And so there's a very big opening for you, Katy, because I'm always impressed with her soaking.
Well, first of all, my method has changed a little bit. But first of all, when it comes to vintage, depending on what it is, having damage is going to matter or it's not going to matter. So when it comes to T-shirts, it matters to some people and some people like it that way. So if I find something, like, I'm happy to take a super stained white T-shirt that somebody else thinks is worthless and sell it. I'll try to clean it. And if it's a white shirt or a gray shirt or a light colored shirt, I will just bleach the shit out of it. So now I'm like an old pioneer woman over our bathtub, because we have a front loading washing machine. I put all the whites in there. I'll wash them first in the regular washing machine. Then I put them all in the bathtub with a lot of bleach, probably more than you're supposed to. I let it soak in there.
You can smell it across the street. It's a lot of bleach.
And I don't care if the bleach eats a hole or something. It's like, if it's going in there, it's because it's stained and it's gross. And then I'll wash it again. And then a lot of times it works and the stain's gone, or the stain's a lot lighter. But honestly, like, you can sell stained stuff all day long. I just sold a Fossil, the brand Fossil T-shirt. I got the bins that had holes and is all worn and faded. I sold it for $70 on Etsy. So
nice.
Yeah, I will attempt to clean. My stuff's a little bit different as vintage women's clothing. A lot of it is, different types of silk, and and fabrics that you can't throw in the washing machine. Now, anything polyester or nylon goes right in the washing machine, and stains come out of that very easily, or denim or anything like that. But, the more delicate fabrics, I'll try to spot treat if I can. And there are different methods for different fabrics that can be very extensive. But for the most part, I'm going to sell it as is. And even things that are damaged or have holes or stains or missing buttons or broken zippers or whatever, if the article itself is a good enough looking item, there are plenty of people that like to wear and rescue vintage items that will do those repairs themselves.
Yeah.
And that's not me.
Well, and occasionally you'll have a piece that, because of its condition, there's no way anyone's going to buy it, so you're not going to list it. So then you don't mind giving it to me to experiment in my bleach bag.
That too.
And a lot of times it comes out magically white, like it's brand new.
Yeah, I would say for me, every time I go to a thrift store, I swear they have a different lighting system there that I miss stains all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We all go through it. So I have a rule of thumb. I'm buying profits, not projects. So if I get the item and it's only going to, if I wash it, clean it, it's going to add an extra 10, 15 bucks, it's not worth my time. I sell it as is. But if I have an item that I can add an extra 50, 100 bucks or something to it, then I'll take the time to clean it. So it really just comes down to the item and how much time you have to put into it to make an extra profit on it.
Yeah. The washing is like part of my process. So it's like, it's kind of built in there, but otherwise I totally agree. But also Vikki has actually like put a leather jacket in the washing machine before because it was so terribly
leather,
stained.
suede, things that people say you're never supposed to wash in the washing machine. Listen, if it's not sellable as it is, what are you risking?
Yeah. Don't try it if it's a nice jacket, but
if you can't sell it as it is, turn it inside out.
It won't hurt.
Throw it in the washing machine.
see what happens.
Hang dry, see what happens.
And how did it turn out?
Perfect.
Perfect.
It was a vintage suede bomber jacket that was filthy. And leather cleaning and suede cleaning and taking it to a dry cleaner is so cost prohibitive as a reseller.
It's expensive.
It's stupid expensive. They're going to charge you like $50 to $75 for every item. So yeah, just go for it. Might not.
All right. So anybody that knows me knows I don't clean anything. That's like my thing. I just don't. I will wipe some dust off, but and if it stinks, I'll throw it in the washer. But I don't like do anything beyond wash and dry. I sell a ton of vintage linens with stains. They're clean, but they're stained, and they still sell for really, really good money. Let me give Miss Jessica her dolphin, and then I'm gonna make Trish big. Do not go anywhere. Trish has an amazing announcement for you guys. We didn't even give you a hint. So if you're here right now, you're going to have a chance at something amazing. So don't go anywhere. Let me give Jess her dolphin. Here you go. Thank you to Gino. Gino's in the chat. Gino's Finds made most of my super chats for me. All right, Trish. I'm going to make you big. You tell them, guys, do not do anything until I tell you to go because I have to collect this.
Okay, you're going to have to tell them what to do because I didn't quite know.
Well, you tell them, okay, we're giving you all a chance to win something. I am going to make Trish big and let her tell you what you can win, and then I am going to tell you how. So here's Trish to tell you, and then I will tell you how.
Okay, so List Perfectly is having its first reseller conference in June 27th and 28th, and we're going to give away 2 free tickets and in the hotel room. So all you have to do is get your butt to Phoenix the end of June. It includes all your meals, all your alcohol, all of the regular drinks. It includes snacks. It includes all of the programming and a hotel room at the Phoenix, and we'll pick you up at the airport. Be all inclusive. So if you can get yourself to Phoenix, June 27th and 28th, we would love to have you. And Kat is going to tell you how you can win.
Trish will give you shots of peanut butter whiskey.
I probably will.
And everybody you see here on this screen is speaking.
Everybody
you see is speaking.
Exactly. So there's 27 people. We have 27 speakers. So everybody here, including some really big people, and then a lot of, people that you guys don't know, industry people.
There are a lot of new people. I'm excited about that. There are a lot of people I don't know that are speaking. So I'm going to put this thing up. Okay. So let me share my screen. Hold on. How do I'm used to doing this in my lives, but not. Okay. This thing. Share. Can you see it? Okay.
Yes.
There you go.
Guys, put in hashtag camp listing party. I will give you like 2 minutes. Do not enter if you can't get the Phoenix. Hashtag camp listing party. You are entering for 2 tickets plus a hotel room. It's what's that valued about? A lot of hundreds of dollars.
Oh yeah. We're
It's over $1,000 value.
Over $1,000. Yeah.
Yep.
This is over $1,000. I should have said that. Thank you, Rod, for figuring that out.
Over $1,000.
Yep.
And if you guys put it more than once in the chat, you won't get more entries.
It'll only count at once. I mean,
it counts at once.
So put it in there. Look at Mark. Mark, you didn't pay a late fee. When did you get here? Were you on time, buddy?
Man, your
sneak in.
followers pay late fees if they don't show up on
Just
time?
Mark.
Harsh.
Just Mark. Mark, you met Mark. Mark was at the listing party with me. You met Mark.
She
Okay.
doesn't remember anyone
I
from
don't
Florida
remember.
unless that had to do with
He
chocolate,
says it's
right?
coming. He says he's gonna pay his late fee.
Trish, do I get to
He's
enter for the
always
free
late.
booze?
I will give you free bows, Katie. Don't worry.
Bose, she can't even talk.
Somebody's been drinking too much peanut butter whiskey
Somebody's
today.
already drinking the whiskey.
I have not had one thing to drink today, boys and girls. It's getting late. I'm gonna have to go get. I'm going to get the peanut butter whiskey.
Do it.
I am. I'm going.
All right, we've got almost 400 people in here, guys. We got 68 entries. I don't want you to enter if you can't come. I don't want you to enter if you can't come.
Trish has to
But
be
if
here
you
for the
can.
drawing.
Yes, you must be present.
I was just getting the peanut butter whiskey.
Oh my gravy.
Screwball.
You guys
Listen,
have
I'll tell you guys an entertaining time. New Year's Eve, I think it was July 2019. July. Listen, now I sound like I'm drunk.
That was really
Did you
entertaining.
New Year's Eve?
New Year's Eve, either 2019 or 2020, I was drinking live for 2 hours leading up to New Year's, and you guys never see me act like ridiculous on camera. So if you go back, I didn't delete it. I was live on New Year's Eve. We were a little bit tipsy. I was drinking White Russians
before.
Oh, White Russians. Good Lord.
I was downing them. It was crazy. So it's still there. I didn't delete it. If you want an entertaining video,
We got
Vikki,
76
you guys-
entries right
Friday
we
night.
got 77 entries. If you just came in, hashtag camp listing party for 2 tickets to camp listing party and a hotel room. Free alcohol, free food, free everything.
Everything is
Why-
included. So if you can get your butt to Arizona, we'd
You
love
get
to
free
have you.
Stouffer's lasagna, double meat.
Man, you do really
We will let you supersize it as well. All right. Just
listen. You are in a hotel room one time and you have a little bit too much to drink and you want some Stouffer's and no one lets you live it down.
Stouffer's.
Hey, I love Stouffer's.
Stouffer's, what do you say?
All right, guys.
Entries.
We have 80 entries. I'm going to draw it. Here we go. Let's see who's going to win. Dun, da, da, da. Oh, it was almost Marsha, my main moderator.
It really slowed down there at the end.
Oh,
It
what-
is
what
not
happened?
fixed. It is not fixed. What?
I thought
Marsh
Mark was
got
right
it.
there. It was like delayed.
It was. I thought it was going to stop on Mark.
Yay, Masha. I don't know who you are, but I'm so
Congrats.
happy.
Congrats, Marsha.
Listen, when you get your plane ticket, think about taking Southwest because you get 2 bags, 50 pounds each. It's great for hauling all your thrifted
All your
goods
stuff
back.
Exactly. Yay.
All right.
I'm so happy. Thank you so much, everybody.
Trish, why don't you tell some of the people in the chat, some of the guests are going to be there.
Yeah. I'll make you big. Talk about Camp Listing Party a little bit and what they just won, too.
Sure. So
And I just
we
saw
have-
you just announced a bunch too recently.
yeah, we did. Let me pull up the while you do this to me, of course, now I can't get in.
Well, I did see you announced Harry Tornado,
Yeah, so Harry Tornado is going to be there.
Rally Roots. I saw.
Rally Roots are going to be there. Both the Roots and Callie is going to come. So we're going to have Ryan and Allie and Callie, which is always great. Josh is going to be there, and I believe his wife. I'm not 100% sure about that, but he's definitely going to be there. Casey, the Rockstar Flipper, will be there. So we have a big contingent from Florida. So you guys will all be together.
Cat and Rod from Florida as well.
Cat and Rod from Florida, exactly. Vikki and Katy are going to be there, and then I will be there. So there'll be some LP people be there, and I just would like to say this is a List Perfectly sponsored event. This isn't really an LP event, so you do not have to be an LP user. This is just a reselling conference. So please, if you're interested, it's camplistingparty.com. Go in and look. All of the sessions are in there. Well, 90% of the sessions are in there. And so now we're getting sponsors. So we'll be announcing some of them next week. But I am missing a whole lot of people. Oh, Commonwealth Picker. What's Carrie's handle?
American Arbitrage.
American Arbitrage. Thank you very much. Sunny Las Vegas. Mikey Bags of Money. Ken Hustler B. Right? Hustler B. Is that right?
Hustle Bee. The Hustle Bee.
Hustler B. I was close. That's just off the top of my head. That's all I can think of right now.
People are asking in the chat, how much are tickets?
So tickets are $349.
That's in person though.
In person, we're talking about. So we'll also have so they're $349, and it includes everything we just said. So it's 2 full days of meals. Everything is at the Hilton. So when it's all encompassed, it's a convention hotel. So we'll stay there, and it's also everything will be there. And it's 2 full days of programming. And we have not only keynotes, but we'll have breakout sessions. So if you're interested in like going and speaking to Katy or Vikki, they're both going to have their own session, which will probably have between like 20 and 50 people in them, because we'll split up into smaller groups and you guys can decide what you're interested in seeing. So if you want to go and speak to Katy about, it's in Phoenix, Arizona. Sorry.
Also too, how about for the
5 minutes from the airport, and we will pick you up. So I'm sorry, what did you ask me?
The people that can't attend, they can actually view it online as well.
So there is a virtual ticket. So we're going to have live program for 2 days, and there's a virtual ticket that is $74, I believe. And that gives you live programming for 2 days. And we're using an app called Hoova. So it will give us the ability to ask questions in real time. And you'll also be able to see speaker notes and talk to people and get in, so it's a really interesting thing. It'll be fun. It's going to be great.
Perfect. I'll make you little. She's like, okay, Kat, enough.
That's enough of my face, Kat.
Congrats. I don't even like being big. I don't like being big. I'm like, I'm too big.
Do you like how I waited for you to grab the screwball before I ask those questions?
She said, here's a toast.
You did great.
We already did that one. Oh, here. This is good for you guys that do a lot of clothes. So Karen said, for clothing resellers, what trends are you finding that are selling now?
So I have to be completely honest. I find that anything that's in really good condition, that's a size 16 or over, I can sell relatively easy. I think that plus sizes for me are kind of like my bread and butter, and they can be anything from Walmart, to high end. And I find that I can sign a Walmart brand for more money in plus size than it ever sold at Walmart. I think sometimes if you're a bigger girl, which this is no shade, I'm a bigger girl, so I don't mean this rudely, but sometimes we find something we like and we know it fits us and we know how it fits us. And so we can go in and find that really easily, especially on the secondhand market. So for me, I do think that, of course, trends matter, but I more worry about classic style and like sizing, if that makes sense for me.
I think as far as t-shirts go, the bubble has definitely burst on the crazy vintage t-shirt market that was happening, that kind of peaked later pandemic, when t-shirts were selling for thousands of dollars. And there's still some that sell for a lot. I never really was in that part of it. So I'm finding it's a lot more of the mid-range stuff and kind of like the weirder vintage tees, which I kind of, I'm not so much about, like, I'm not going to sell wrap tees or super expensive band tees. Usually it's going to be more kind of obscure, interesting graphics. I have found, as I'm sure a lot of you have, the trend around clothing is that sales are down across pretty much all the platforms. And so for me, I would say my own personal trend is shopping more at the bins. I'm not doing as many big private buys right now because I cannot justify paying up for stuff that's going to take longer to sell at the prices I want. So I've kind of like reignited the flame in my heart for the bins where I did start out years ago, and having fun finding really cool stuff for crazy cheap prices and still selling them for decent amounts.
So as someone that sells mostly women's vintage, I do sell men's as well. But there are certain trends in vintage fashion that have always been in fashion. Certain boho chic looks from the 60s and the 70s have always sold well, and people love that style and will always sell well. But the current trend, we have heard some of the core things that people use, like cottage core, prairie core, that kind of thing. The gunny sacks clothing, cottage core has kind of seen its moment, and that's starting to phase out. But right now, 90s fashion and Y2K fashion is very, very hot and very trendy. And, think about those kids. Now I'm going to speak for myself because I was in high school in the 90s. So think about the kids in your school that were super into like all the Hot Topic clothes and goth clothes. That type of stuff is really hot again. That whole skater look and that, goth starter kit look, trip jeans and that kind of thing. All of that is really still in and having its moment and coming back. The whole
wide leg
jeans, rave clothing that people would wear to raves in the 90s is back, little crop tops and big wide leg jeans and pants and big baggy cargo pants, that kind of thing. So it's pretty hot right now.
So for me, if I sell clothing, I'm selling a lot of pop culture or sporting vintage clothing. That's why that's goes along with a lot of stuff I do sell in my store, but a lot of that is seasonal. So right now, baseball stuff is hotter because it is baseball season. If your teams are in the NBA playoffs, that stuff gets really hot during NBA playoffs. Be on the lookout for college gear and NFL gear is right around the corner coming. It's training camps will be starting this summer in August, and it's really so you're going to see a big upswing in that going forward here. And also too right now is anything with movies, so anything related to like Indiana Jones, Marvel right now with Guardians of the Galaxy, things along that line, because the movies are coming out down the line is stuff to look out for because you can see a trend going up in those areas.
So I say I don't do a ton of clothes, but I probably have over 1,000 clothes listings. Lately for me, scarves have been selling again. We sold 3 yesterday. We sold some today, and they haven't been selling for months, and they've just started selling again. And then a lot of athletic and workout gear has been selling for me as well lately. All right. Mark sent his $5 super chat for his late fee. And I have an announcement. Marcia is bringing Mark.
Oh!
I got chills. My 2 main moderators here in the chat, guys. My 2 main moderators here in the chat, which is amazing. Mark came to the Tampa event too, which will be awesome. So, yay! Okay. All right. Let me give. Here, Mark, you can have the pillow fight. We haven't played the pillow fight yet. Here you go. And that lovely young blonde thing with my 4-year-old is my 21-year-old daughter, and she will be coming with me to Camp Listing Party and helping check people in. So she will be there as well. You don't see Brooke very often. You guys that watch us on Whatnot, Brooke runs the Whatnot shows. So Brooke will be coming as well. Julie sent a $10 super chat and said, thank you for having an online option to the
you're
event.
welcome. Okay, so 2 things. A, I'm going to give Kat 5 virtual tickets that you can start to give away. So later on, you can give 5 virtual tickets away. But I feel kind of bad that your mods won, so I think you should give away another package.
Okay.
What?
I'll do it.
Wow. See, that's what happens when that's what happens when I drink peanut butter whiskey.
She's giving away hotel rooms to everyone.
You get a hotel room. You get a hotel room. You get a hotel room.
Okay, Oprah.
Okay. Hold on. I got to go backwards.
Holden.
Okay. Where is it? Okay. Where's this thing? Oh, StreamYard giveaway page. Okay, let me share. And we're going to do, you got to enter again, guys. You got to enter again. Hold on. Don't do it till I tell you.
Unless your name is
Keep
Marsha
drinking, Trish.
or Mark, you do not enter.
Marsha and Mark, you're not eligible.
Yeah, don't you two enter. And then I
Okay.
get
Here you go. All right. And go. And then I'm going to give Julie a dolphin. Let me take this off. So hashtag camp listing party for 2 tickets and a hotel room. She's giving away another one. Hashtag camp listing party.
There's no hashtag on the screen.
Oh,
that's
just
okay.
for camp listing party. No hashtag.
Uh-oh.
I think Kat's been drinking too. She's just on the DL about it.
Oh, gravy. Just camp listing party, no hashtag. No hashtag.
No hashtag. No
No
hashtag.
hashtag. Oh, you won't get in.
There's a delay. There's a delay. They'll listen.
Camp listing party, no hashtag.
I remember my first time running a giveaway.
Guys, you're so great. You all are, really. Thank you all so much. And I'm really,
This is water.
yeah.
Someone check that water.
This one's iced tea.
Peanut buttery whiskey iced tea.
It's peanut buttery and delicious.
Camp listing party, no hashtag.
No
We'll give you guys like 3 more minutes. 3 more minutes. Camp listing party. You win 2 tickets and a hotel room since Marsha swiped in and got it.
Yeah, I felt bad that your mods got it. So we're going to do another one. And I just
It's so funny. So on Whatnot, I do 6 giveaways a show. And occasionally my mods do win. They're there every show. But yesterday, the same, like, and it's happened like probably only 4 times. And I do shows 5 days a week. Like where one person wins 2 things. Like you've got 60 people in there and the same person wins 2 giveaways. And I'm like, it's random. Like this thing is picking the winner, not me. Oh, we've almost got as many entries as last time, guys.
Good.
Camp listing party, June 28th and 29th, 27th, 28th. Something at the
28th.
Something at the end of June.
Yeah, don't enter if you can't travel.
Yeah, please only enter if you can travel, guys.
Yeah, only if you can be in Phoenix at the end of June.
Either
Mark
drive
would
or
like
fly.
to nominate Trish for president.
Thanks. I will take you up on that. I can't do worse than some of the people have.
All right, guys, 1 more minute. We have 79 entries, guys. 79
Your
entries.
whiskey, please.
It's not great. Here's the thing. It's not the whiskey.
Oh, there's 81.
No, it's true.
Just
I know,
my
that's-
personality.
All right. I have no more moderators, so no more of my moderators can win. That is it. So let's go ahead and pick a winner. Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
Slowing down.
It gets real slow. And all right, there you go.
Annette Mercado. So Annette,
Annette,
you need to email me. Email me,
No.
thenurseflipper@yahoo.com.
No, I'm going to overtake that. You're going to email Tiffany at List Perfectly.
Tiffany at listperfect. I'm going to type it.
Yep.
Tiffany at listperfectly.com.
Please.
Marsha, you too.
Yes, both of you. Tiffany at
How do you
listperfectly.com.
spell it?
TIFFANY at
I put it in the chat. I put it
There
in
it
the
is.
chat.
Oh.
She spelled it right.
I know that because Tiffany's who I email my winners of my List Perfectly giveaways.
Absolutely.
I know that email.
And so, Kat, starting next week, you can give away one. You know, you can have 5 to give away whenever you want.
So I think we could do, like, I'll do 1 each the next 5 weeks. One ticket, a regular in-person or virtual.
No,
No,
virtual.
virtual.
I just don't think that. I mean,
No, that's fine.
yeah, in person's hard because we need some time to get you.
Because
to
then
the-
they wouldn't have to travel. Yeah. So we'll do 1 a week, guys, for the next 5 weeks.
Awesome.
Nope.
Bing.
I had it on focus. It's back on now. Sorry, guys, it went off. I've been on so long.
It's okay. Okay, let me stop sharing. There. Oh, I got to give her dolphin. Here's your dolphin. This is my original dolphin.
Super chat.
That's the dolphin that made you all hate dolphins. Right there, the original. Not all of you. I know you don't all hate the. I'm kidding.
I was gonna say, who hates the Dolphins?
Yay! Miss Annette says she's so excited. Thank you.
So
Yay.
glad, Annette. So glad.
Congrats.
Congrats. Let's see. What are your thoughts on whispers that the new GSP is causing lower views or sales? I'm struggling with searches, always showing international sales first, and have to keep filtering it to the US.
Huh. I have not heard this gossip. So I have not heard of this gossip. So I would be interested to know about it if anyone else has any.
I mean, I don't know. I hadn't heard necessarily that it's tied to the global shipping program,
which is now called what? eBay standard?
Whatever it is. I don't use it.
No,
but
international standard,
yeah.
I think.
International standard.
I feel like they've changed it like 3 times.
Yep.
So, but I definitely have heard of this along with about 5 to 10 other weird glitches that have been happening on eBay, where people are doing searches and they're seeing the international results first. And I mean, my thoughts are, I wish eBay would get their act together because I don't have these similar regular problems with any other platform. And it seems like their search is so screwed up right now. People trying to buy stuff and getting error pages or pages saying that the item's no longer available when that's not true. And there's just a million things going on the platform, and I'm not really sure what the problem is, but it seems pretty terrible. And it's definitely affecting our sales.
I don't use eBay's international shipping. I ship internationally on my own, and I always have. Long before eBay offered it as a service, I always did. So I never saw a reason to go backwards. Sorry. But I know that it's easier for some people. So I haven't heard that specific one, but we also have our own Facebook group, and we've heard over the last several months about a lot of specific search glitches, and to the point where I was having people capture the screen recordings and I was sending them into some people at eBay that I know that work in those divisions and work with the tech. And supposedly some of the things have been fixed. Others they're very aware of. It's just an ever-changing on a very, very old platform that they just keep patching.
Yeah, I mean, I've been selling on eBay since 1999, and it's the same website. It's so antiquated. The problem is that they're the 800-pound gorilla in the room. The thing's so big they would literally have to strip it all down and start fresh. And so what they do is they just like patching a tire. They put a little patch to try to fix it. So it doesn't matter what you put in there. You can put the new, GSP, or just put blank, put whatever you want to put in there. Anytime they do an update, it throws off the algorithm, and the algorithm has to relearn every single time. So unfortunately, we all go through this. It's been happening for 20 plus years. I've been on eBay. Unfortunately, there's not going to change anytime soon. I mean, if they can't even get offers, I send offers and people pay for the offers when they get them yet. You think these glitches are going to be fixed. It's not coming. I mean, that puts money in eBay's pocket. So why would they want to fix that first? So unfortunately, it's not going to happen. It's you just got to deal with it. It's part of the learning process, part of the business. That's why it's so important to have a platform like List Perfectly, so you can sell on other platforms. Because when this does happen, this is a prime example of why it's very important to do that. So you have other options.
Don't keep all your eggs in one basket. eBay is not the only basket anymore.
Especially
the basket that's got so many cracks
on this income. If you live on this income, you better have your eggs in lots of baskets.
Mm-hmm.
Lots. So Karen says, with vintage clothing, do you call it what it was called when it was new, or use today's keywords such as a slip dress or a full? So would you call like what they would call it back when it was made, or would you do both, or how would you list something like that?
I do both. I think if it's something that other people would be really aware of, like vintage wise, that they might search for. To be quite honest with you, I do keyword searches for this kind of stuff, because I find vintage, sometimes people will call things. I mean, we had that grandma core phase for a little while, and now like mermaid core is in, so sometimes I do a little research about those words more than how I think it should be called, because it really doesn't matter what I think. It matters how people search.
Right. I'm going to do both. Women's vintage clothing is probably the biggest issue with that, like more so than men's, I think. I'm going to put both. I mean, there are mixed camps over whether you should even put vintage in your title. I always do, because I do think that people searching for vintage do search for vintage, and you shouldn't dial it down to the vintage category only because you're restricting the number of eyeballs on your item. So I'll put vintage slip dress, and it doesn't matter whether you have full slip in it or not, because the word slip is going to pull up the item. So you don't need to repeat yourself with specific words. But using your example, I would put vintage, slip dress, maybe whatever the decade is. I generally put a decade. I'll put 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. If you're talking about slip dress, it's probably 90s. That's how I do it. And, I right or wrong, that's how I've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, I would say you have eBay, you have 80 characters to use in your title. Use every single one of them no matter what you're listing. So if you have space, use any keywords, what it used to be called, what it's the slang term for it, what the real name is for it, whatever you can possibly do to help that search.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a keyword junkie, so I would have it all in there. Chance says, when using cash method for inventory, do you have to have value for leftover inventory? I'm going to answer that. A, with number one, we are not accountants, and B, with no, you do not, because that's the method I use. It's the money in, the money out. There's no counting of inventory. That is the accrual method. Mischievous Mariposa says, yay or nay on Etsy international shipping?
I do. Yay.
Let me clarify what we're answering here, because I don't use Etsy shipping. I do all the platforms. I do my own shipping. That is
where I was going, and it just didn't come out right, because I use Pirate Ship for international shipping, Pirate Ship Export, Simple Export, right?
Yes.
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
For Etsy, but I do sell internationally on Etsy.
Yes.
Okay.
There you
all
go.
of that.
So I sell internet. Vikki and I both sell internationally on all of our platforms. We do all of our own shipping. And for anyone who's scared to do that, even with all the talk we had about international stuff going missing, it doesn't matter. You charge retail rates for shipping, for international shipping. You use Simple Export rate on Pirate Ship. You're going to make extra money on the shipping, especially if you do free shipping in the US. You use a piece of that extra money to get insurance. Pirate Ship doesn't care if it disappeared into the ocean. They are the ones that are the go-between with a third party that does the insurance. They're fantastic, great customer service. Mm-hmm. I don't care if it's going to Brazil or South Africa or somewhere where there's not going to be
Chile, Mexico, all different.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I buy insurance on it. And again, it's like the international shipping through Pirate Ship is cheaper than any other platforms. And their insurance is cheaper than any other platform. So I just tell people, quit being scared of doing your own international shipping. You'll make more money. And to me, it's safer to ship it overseas than it is to ship it across the country.
So I don't sell on Etsy. Someone say what Trish said and go, yay.
And I offer it with Etsy's shipping program. Pirate Ship has an export center too, though.
It does.
Yes, they do. They're doing it very similarly, but their rates
are the same.
Discounted. Yeah.
Their rates are really good comparatively.
And I've never had a problem with them.
And they fight for you. I've never had an insurance claim denied. I've had way more issues with domestic sales than I've ever had international. I've been shipping international since 99. So
I'm going to go off topic for 1 second, but do you guys exclude any countries? I'm just wondering. No, you don't. Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
Why?
No, I was just wondering.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't matter.
The only time I've ever had any trouble was Russia. And so I was just wondering, I mean, that is the only time, and I still ship there. So
eBay excludes Russia, but the other platforms do not. eBay will automatically exclude a few countries that they don't deem worthy.
They used to be one of my top countries to sell to. I will say the only time I ever had a problem where eBay did not back me up was an international sale to France, because the buyer bought it on the French eBay site.
Yep.
And so I had to, and I don't know, maybe this is different now. This was a few years back. I had to, it's like eBay US wouldn't help me. It's like I had to talk to the French one, and they really were not helpful either. Through translation, it just didn't, it ended badly. But it's like one time out of how many years that I've been selling, that it's like, it's nothing.
This goes along with it actually here.
So I'll answer that real quickly. What about the new Germany rules? eBay, I have excluded Germany on eBay because they make it more complicated. I have not excluded Germany on, I guess Etsy is probably the only other site because, you know, Macari doesn't ship internationally, neither does Poshmark, and those are my other platforms. So as far as Germany, I've just been shipping. I've been shipping through Pirate Ship to Germany, and I haven't had any issues. I haven't had any issues. I think that, you know,
didn't I just read that eBay now is going to, if we use their international standard for Germany, that they will take it and repack it and send it?
I didn't read that, but that may be true. I don't know.
I'm almost positive that that is coming with eBay, that pretty soon anything sold to the countries in the EU that have these very strict rules, that eBay is going to be in charge of the shipping, just kind of like the old GS global shipping program, where they made sure they were doing all the right forms and all those things. I'm almost positive. And I have a meeting with eBay. You guys must be going to on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure we'll find out about this.
I would assume Pirate Ship would do the same thing if eBay is going to be doing that.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't know. Personally, I don't worry about it too much. The only thing I don't do international is I don't sell Nike international. Because they'll come after you because they have it's something to do with the rights to sell internationally, and Nike they do monitor stuff pretty closely.
Kylie Jenner too as well. I got popped for selling their makeup internationally because their distributor actually has international rights to them.
Mm-hmm.
You can sell US. So I was selling some of my wife's makeup, and I couldn't sell it international. I got popped on eBay twice for having international.
Huh.
Interesting. Lovely Treasures want to know if we use coupons, do they work, and how much do you offer if you do use it?
I do use them. I do not think anything less than 20% changes anyone's behavior. I think if you're going to buy something, you're going to buy it anyways, and I think 20% is the tipping point for changing your behavior. So I try to, I have in my business, I have about a 30% that I can give off before it starts to eat into my real profit. So I do use them. I think they work okay.
I mean, I don't really use coupons too often. I price my stuff pretty high so I can run. Like eBay always has a 30% off sale going, and then I still have room to aggressively send offers. And I feel like that works better for me. Like Etsy, I do have a couple of coupons. I have a sale constantly running, and I have a couple of coupons that go to people who either favorite my item or have an item in their cart. But maybe I sell one or two of those a month, so I don't feel like it's super effective. But
I'm just going to say the eBay coupons don't work for me, period. They used to have them years and years and years ago. They didn't work then either. So I like Katy, price my things very high because everything I have is vintage and you really can't comp it. So I prefer to be at the top end of the spectrum, and I leave plenty of room for me to send aggressive offers like Katy said. And also like Trish said, if I'm going to send an offer, it is a minimum of 20% off. You know, usually 30 or 40% off sometimes. It really depends on how long I've had the item and, you know, whether I think it's going to sell. And, you know, I'll get more aggressive with the offers, the higher a margin is that I have on the item. So, you know, I think people are going to have different results for the coupon thing, depending on what you sell, to be honest.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't use coupons. I don't feel like they really do much for my store when I do them. Even when I run discounts, like 10, 20, 30% off on the items, I don't get that many sales. I do get a ton of watchers, and I get most of my sales from being aggressive with my offers. So I would say one thing I like to do is I like to run a discounted sale through my store to get more watchers on the item. And then when that sale ends, that's when I flood them all with offers. And I see that has been good success for me. So.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of coupons either. I don't use them because I've tried using them buying stuff and like there were errors, and I'm like, I don't want my buyers to deal with it. So I'm a big offers person as well. Let's see. Bridget wants to know if any of us use a Poshbot.
I do not. I have in the past. I do not now. I work for List Perfectly, and we do things that are within terms of service.
Technically, they've removed that from the terms of service with Posh, but I'm gonna. Lots of people will say they don't use one, but I think if you have a solid number of listings on Posh, you have to use one.
I agree with you.
I don't. Nobody that has well over 1,000 listings on Poshmark is not using a bot or some type of share service. It's just not. You'd be sitting on your phone 24/7, or you're not selling anything. It's one of the two.
Yeah, or the sharing is not happening.
So, I mean, if Kat uses one, obviously, I'm sure she's got a referral code she'd put out there. But yeah,
I don't even have a referral link. So if you have one and you want to tell, the one I have doesn't have a good referral program, I guess I should say.
Yeah, I wouldn't be using a referral link. I'm just saying I've tried probably 3 or 4 different ones, different services over the past 2 years. I've been using the same one for the past couple of years. They offer a lot of things, and I happen to only use the sharing service that they have. It's just, I think when you have a large number of listings, it's necessary.
Did you say which one? I didn't even
One
hear.
shop.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I use One Shop.
That's what I use too. That's what
I think they're garbage for everything else.
I use them for Macari to delist and relist.
But I use them for delist and relist for Macari, and I use them for delist and relist for Posh, and I use them to share on Posh. That's it. The automation stuff. I think the automation stuff is what they do well.
Yeah.
They said good.
Yeah, and I use One Shop to send automatic offers on Posh to likers, and I send it at 10% off, and I get a lot of sales off of it. I can send you guys a link if you want one, but yeah, One Shop is the one that I use as well. I'd flip that. Wants to know, Rod, how was the 100-mile yard sale with Kevin and Dave?
I want to know this too, Rod.
So Dave, the NC picker, wasn't there. It was actually me, Kevin, the Commonwealth picker. We had the Death Pile picker was also there. And then all the guys from the reselling network, like Leroy and OBX and all those guys. It was great. I got down there on Wednesday and we did a private pick. And then we hit the highway sales on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But I will say the highway sales are mostly, a lot of times are filled with a lot of dealers and a lot of, with higher prices. So, we hit those up the first day, but we tried to find the sales off the main roads. That's where you get the best deals. So that's what we did, community sales, and we hit up with stuff like that. But it was great. Kevin was a great host. He took care of us. He, put us up to stay and then took us out to eat and stuff like that. So yeah, it was great. And then we ended up doing a giant whatnot show and everything else. So it was a good time. So I had a blast.
And people were trying to buy Rod's shirt.
Yeah.
Northwoods Flipper, are you able to keep your inventory in your workspace, or does it spill over into your personal space?
So I have 15,000 items listed, and they are all in my house, and they are all behind that curtain right there. So I have a Pala, which I guess you guys would be like, I don't know what that is, like a small formal living room.
It's a living room. It's the formal living room, the Pala.
Okay. It's a small formal living room, and then a dining room and a bathroom, which I didn't use on my first floor. So those are all filled with inventory. And then I had 2 bedrooms. I took over one of those. If you come into my house, most of the time, you wouldn't know I was a reseller. Every once in a while, you do end up with a pile in your living room that you're working on or whatever. But most of the time, like if I had friends over or whatever, you wouldn't. It's behind that curtain. Nobody would ever know.
I'm able to keep my inventory all in one place, but again, that's because I have my bins and it fits in in that space. We do have a lot of different rooms in our house that are specifically for our workspaces. So, for instance,
we got a stupid big house so that we could.
Well, we kind of had to
keep it out of our living spaces.
Yeah, and so my stuff stays within the workspaces. Your answer is probably a little bit different.
Depends on what day of the week you show up at the house. If I'm in the middle of sorting and doing laundry and all that kind of stuff, sometimes it'll sit there. If you come to my house and you're not a reseller, you probably won't see it. If you are a reseller, I'm like, yeah, you know what I do. I'm not putting my crap away for you. Sorry.
It's pretty easy for us to put our stuff away. Like we have the space to put it all. So
Yeah, so for me, I have a 10 by 25 storage unit, but I also have an office. As you can see, probably behind me, there's a bunch of stuff all over this office that still needs to be cleaned up. And then I have a garage as well. So I try to keep it up a living space so I don't get divorced. But it's one of those things where, as a reseller and as you expand your business, it does happen. You will, if you still have your home, it will fall into your personal spaces and stuff like that. But the biggest thing I can tell you is if it starts impacting your loved ones, starts impacting your spouses, starts impacting your daily life, or you feel anxiety or from overwhelmed from all this stuff, then it's time to find outside storage. Either buy a shed, get a small storage unit. They're not expensive. People think you can get a small one, keep it for a while, then get rid of inventory, or change up your business model, one of the other ones. But it does get overwhelming, so just be careful if it is coming in your personal space.
It does look like you stole movie posters out of my office.
It does.
I'm like, I just now like started looking. I'm like, oh, I have that one. I've got
Katie's
that one
office.
too.
Exactly right.
Your background could be her office, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
crazy.
awesome.
I had everything separated because I bought this shed. I have another shed. And then I started Whatnot. And it's easier to do Whatnot in the house. So we have Whatnot in the spare bedroom. That's where we do our Whatnot sales because nobody ever comes and stay. I was like, why am I so stuck on having a spare bedroom and nobody stays at our house? Like, what is the point of this? So that's where we do Whatnot. But I will confess, I keep don't come. I'm in the country, so don't try and come anyways. But my jewelry is in my pantry with my food. It's in little shoe boxes because I don't keep a ton of it. It's in shoe boxes in the pantry. So yeah, but I go through 500 pieces a week, so it's constantly turning over. And I like to sit on the couch and sort through jewelry, so that's my personal space. Last night I got over 1,000 pieces from Hawaii, and it was a mound. Like I couldn't even see my husband in the other room because it was mounted so high. But I put it all up this morning. So when I'm sorting these big lots, it's like something exploded, and then I can put it up. Yes, Marcia says she's seen it. Marcia has been to my house. She has seen it. Oh, the kitchen table is my resin spot now too. We don't eat at that either. Why do I'm not like, I don't eat at it. I don't eat at it and nobody sleeps in the spare room, right?
All 3 garages are full at our house. We have 3-car garage. They're all full of my inventory, and 2 of our 3 spare bedrooms are dedicated to.
Well, we used to have at our old house, we used to have 2 spare bedrooms. And it's like we regularly use 1 spare bedroom for guests. We live in Vegas. People like to come visit us. But it's like maybe once a year we could use 2 spare bedrooms. And I finally convinced her, like, that's so ridiculous to give up that much space for something that we're only going to use maybe once a year.
So that's what
so
I
now
was
we operate
looking
with 1 spare bedroom, which gets used regularly. And then we have a photography area where you can put a really nice blow up queen mattress. So it's like we've got a second room if we need it.
That works. That makes sense. Let me see. Miss Barbara wants to know, would you rather bundle things together, put a junk drawer, run a Whatnot mystery box, or create a reseller lot for if you had a bunch of low value items to sell?
Man, I am like, I really suck tonight. I just want you all to know that I suck. I've never done one of those things ever. So go ahead, girls.
Occasionally, if I have a bunch of stuff that is just not worth it for me to go through the whole process of listing it, I just, because of the stuff I sell, I'll just take it to Jesse at Yesterday's Fits because he gives me good trade-in value. And so I'll just use it for credit. I'm not going to take the time to try to sell it.
I don't do any of those things, honestly. If it's really low value items, I don't even waste my time saving it to do garage sales anymore. I get it out. Get it out of your house, get it out of your site, and start over. Get something that's worth selling and flipping. Don't waste your time. If it's not worth it, just
stop.
I'm telling you, it's very freaking me.
Yeah. So usually, if I buy a lot of big lots, and if I get a bunch of stuff that's not really worth that much, I'll just throw in a big lot and just throw it up and put it at a price I don't care, like $10, and let's let it run. If it sells $10, I don't care. Just move it out. Just move on. Get my space and go from there.
Yeah, so sometimes I buy lots of low value items that I know I can lot for okay money. So that stuff I would sell. But if I'm going through a lot and it's like random low dollar stuff, I'm going to give it away. I have people I give it to that sell at the flea market. I'm just going to give it away. So if I think it's all the same genre, I can bundle it, get 20, 25 bucks. I'll just list it as like, I wouldn't do junk drawer. I would put a lot of whatever. I'm not a fan of mystery boxes. I don't want the buyer to be disappointed or expect more. I don't like mystery boxes. The only mystery type thing I do is like 50 vintage handkerchiefs, which that I don't think people will be disappointed in. But like where you don't know what the heck you're getting, I'm definitely not a fan of that. I have to put this up here because John over at More Income just gifted 10 channel memberships to my channel, to those of you in the chat. So John says that is his late fee. John has been following me since way before 1,000 subscribers. He has been around for a very, very long time. He is absolutely amazing. So John, I appreciate that. And I'm sure the 10 people that just got free memberships do as well. Oh, my eBay store review live for members is on Thursday. So you just want a membership at a good time. Thursday night is eBay store reviews. Miss Barbara sent a $3 super sticker. I know she likes the pillow fight. She sent 2 super chats just to see it twice last week. So I'm going to give you that one.
I love the fact that it sounds like he's growling at her, like.
They are. You wouldn't know they're 16 years apart. They act like they're 2 years apart, like yelling at each other and getting into arguments, and they're a mess. They're a mess.
Adorable.
Susan sent a $5 super sticker. Thank you so much. Here is your dolphin.
This makes me want to dance.
What? Yeah, every time Geno's come on, I'm like dancing at the end of it. All right, let's see. Holla wants to know, can you guys explain how to spot vintage single stitches? Like, is there something that you look for?
The single stitch.
Like,
Trish?
can you show her though?
Don't be rude.
She doesn't know, Trish.
I know.
I'll be right back.
being.
Hold on, we're going to show you.
Katie's
Trish
gonna
is
get
dreaming. Just don't
gonna be
listen to
nice.
her.
Single stitch is really just that. It's the single stitch on the sleeve.
It's-
Or
I don't know if I can show mine. This is a double
I'm
stitch.
like, I can't show mine.
She's gonna go get
She's
one.
gonna
to show.
I know, but this is double stitch. You
I
can't
was
see it.
being so rude.
Mine's double stitch too.
Yeah, I know. I was going to try to show double stitch so they can see the difference, but I don't really see it.
Trish,
Trish,
you're
being
fired.
saucy.
Listen, I hate you
from
all.
this non-paying job. I'm going to make Katy and Vikki big, Hollis, so they can show you.
Holla!
Okay, first of all, something can be vintage and be double stitch. Okay, a lot of 90s vintage does not have single stitch. So, and some 80s will have single stitch on the sleeves, but double stitch on the bottom. So single stitch is not the end all be all of vintage. It's just what I say is it's a clue. It's an indicator that something is vintage along with a lot of other clues. So this is an 80s t-shirt that Vikki actually found me at the bins.
That's cool.
And here I'll show you. I'm just going to give you a little more than the single stitch. Here's the multiple clues that you can look to. So it has the Stedman tag right here. Okay, now this Stedman tag, sometimes you'll see this in the early 90s. So this could be 80s or very early 90s. But the big clue is that it actually says like 1986 down on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that very well. So that's when it's really great, is when you can actually see a date on it. But the single stitch is this literally single stitch. You see there's one stitch going down the sleeve. And on this particular one, it's one stitch on the hem as well. So it's a single, sorry, I'm trying to get it to focus, single stitch going down. Now, this is a modern shirt, and you can see it's actually a double stitch. See how there's two? So that's double stitch.
Thank you. Trish says she's sorry. Trish apologized.
I did. I apologize.
Miss Barbara said she's taking away your peanut butter.
Okay, first of all, no one's touching the peanut butter. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, I was just being funny. I meant no harm.
And I was calling you out for being an
We're
asshole.
just giving you a hard time.
Calling me out, it's fine. It's fine.
It's like kindergarten. If I don't pick on you, I don't like you.
Okay.
You know, like
You guys
it's
really
like
like me.
Yeah, now you know. Oh
Yeah.
gosh. Mark said a $5 super chat. He's I'm gonna fall over. I'm gonna give you a dolphin here.
Do you have any drunken dolphins?
I don't even know.
Do you need drunken dolphins?
You have drunk
No.
dolphins? Yeah, that's
No
good.
drunk dolphins. All right.
No drunk dolphin.
People.
Mark, she's gonna revoke your ticket, buddy.
It's Mock.
It's
Not
Mock.
Bird.
Mark.
Mock, we're having a talk when I see you, buddy. We're having a talk.
I don't know how to do this, I will say. Does anybody know how to do the sale where you pick only 6-month and older inventory? I know somebody that's been on the panel does that and they have a video. Does anybody know?
Yeah. So when you run a sale, you can either you can separate your store by date listed.
Mhm.
So when you do that, so what I do when I run my sales like a 10, 20, 30%, I might run my 10% off items that were listed from 60 to 90 days only, and then do the ones that are from 180 days only. And then, so you just have to put the amount of days on eBay and you can run a sale for anything after that.
Yeah, you can sort and
perfect.
search by the date
Yep.
listed.
I've never tried.
All right, one more question, and then we're going to let everybody say bye, and then I'll give Miss Barbara another pillow fight because I know that's what she wants. I see the super sticker, and then we will go. All right, so Constance says if you have a folded poly mailer, you fold it in half, and this is only going to matter on pirate ship cubic on stuff over a pound, I will say. Do you use the full size to calculate it or the half size?
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, it'd be the half.
Yeah, half.
I would use
on,
half.
Yeah.
on pirate ship, you're not supposed to fold it and tape it. If you fold it and tape it, then you're going to use the actual measurement that you've created. If you're trying to use the box in the bag or cubic shipping, you're not supposed to fold it, tape it, or mold it around the package. You're supposed to just seal the envelope and you put the measurements of the envelope prior to anything being in it.
Yeah. Because the whole idea is they're looking for volume. So
Right.
if you're using a bag and you're using the entire volume of the bag, then yes, you're going to want the actual measurements of the bag. If you're folding in half, you're only using half of it.
So I have done this and then put it into another one. Like if I'm doing it for a reason, like if that makes sense, if I'm doing the cubic shipping, if I'm not doing the cubic shipping, it doesn't matter. I do whatever I want. But I will, if there's some reason it's in a bigger bag and I put, fold it over, I will just put it into a smaller poly. I hate all of you today. That is it.
Honestly, I also would say don't
Vikki.
you don't have to overthink it too much because
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're doing it like way over measuring and then it's like you're overpaying.
If it's over cubic, if it's over the 12 by 12 by 12 and making it an oversized package, then you need to worry about it. When it's under that, it's not something you really need to worry about.
Yeah. All right. That was the last question. We didn't get to 15 of them. I'm sorry. I'm going to let all of these lovely ladies on the bottom tell you guys goodbye. Rod will tell you what's going on. I will tell you who will be here next week, and then we will close it out with the pillow fight and the outro. So here is Miss Peanut Butter Trish. That's her new name.
Okay, you guys, I'm not even drunk. That is what's sad about this whole thing. Okay, so first of all, I just want to thank Kat. Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Rod. I would thank my friends Katy and Vikki, but they picked on me, so I'm not. And I would love if you guys would come to Camp Listing Party. Please go and look online, look at it, camplistingparty.com. Check it out. If you have any problems, any questions, you want anything answered, Trish at listperfectly.com. I'd love to talk to you. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me, Kat.
You are welcome. Here's Katy and Vikki.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us to be on the show. It was nice to meet both of you. Trish, not so much. Just kidding. feel free to follow us on our channel or join our Facebook group, and hopefully we'll get to meet some.
What's the name of your
friends.
Facebook group? Tell them the name so they can find it.
Oh, sure. Our Facebook group is called BOSS, the Business of Online Selling Success.
Business for online selling success. That's
close
true.
enough. You type in BOSS, you'll find it. Yeah, and we also host the Boss Reseller Remix every October here in Las Vegas, which is a 4-day reseller conference, and we're camp listing parties coming first, and then we're following in October, and maybe we'll see.
And also, if any of you people who don't know us like to cruise, we are very loosely coordinating a reseller relaxation cruise in 2024. So if you're interested, look for the Facebook group Reseller Relaxation Cruise 2024.
It is truly not a content cruise. It's just lots of resellers like to get together and hang out. And sometimes these conferences twice a year doesn't feel like quite enough time. And so we just did a group rate.
We're teamed up with the Consignment Chat ladies, and it's really just getting a group rate for all of us. So if you're interested, you can either reach out to us or find that Facebook
if you like
group.
To hang out and cruise.
Yeah. And
Perfect.
maybe get stung by a stingray, but it's not a promise.
We now know what to do. We have experts if you get stung by a stingray now.
Yeah. Hot water.
Hot water.
I dropped a brand new video today, so go over to my YouTube channel if you're not subscribed, Picking and Punching. I bought a massive toy lot, and at the very end of the video gets a little weird. He offered me a weird trade, so go watch that. Any questions that we didn't answer tonight, you guys can come find me on Instagram or on Facebook at Picking and Punching. I will answer any question that we were not able to get to tonight, and give me a follow.
All right. I want to say thank you to Katy, Vikki, and Trish all for coming on. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Extra special thanks to Trish and List Perfectly for giving us 4 tickets and 2 hotel rooms tonight. That was not part of the plan. So thank you all for doing that. Next week, we're going to have Mike Golden State Picker on, as well as Gino, the man behind my super chats. Gino Fines is going to be a guest on the panel next week. Tomorrow night on Whatnot, guys, I have 100 items, all sterling silver, all $2 starts. Whole show is sterling. I don't do a ton of all sterling shows. Tomorrow is at 8:30, and then Thursday at 11:30, a bunch of gemstones. So if you don't follow me on Whatnot, follow me on Whatnot. I am going to give the pillow fight to Miss Barbara, and then the outro. We will see you guys next week. I appreciate you guys coming. Thank you so much.